Welcome to the 2020 On-Farm Network Results Series. I'm Megan Burns, agronomist for the On-Farm Network program. Let's dive into our 2020 soybean fungicide trial results. So soybean fungicide trials investigate the agronomic and economic impacts of a single foliar fungicide application in soybean. We measure the effect on disease pressure, of course on yield, and then we've also added seed quality analysis this year. So these are the trial locations from this growing season. We had 7 soybean fungicide trials in total. In terms of disease ratings in soybean fungicide trials, we're looking for a number of different diseases. So we rate for powdery mildew, septoria brown spot, and white mold. And then we also take a presence-absence rating of anthracnose, bacterial blight, frog eye, phomopsis, downy mildew, and phytophthora. These are the fungicides that were used across our 7 trials this year. So we used Acapella, Cotegra, and Diax. I'll be sure to point out which fungicide was used in which trial as we go through the individual results. So starting with the first trial, which was comparing a single application of Cotegra to unsprayed soybeans, there was no significant yield difference between treated and untreated soybeans, which is expected in a relatively low disease pressure year, which 2020 was for soybean. So without an increase in yield, the cost of the product per acre is not offset by an increase in income and is therefore represented as a loss. So the next trial also compared a single application of Cotegra to untreated soybeans. Again, there was no significant yield difference. We're still seeing relatively low disease pressure overall. So you might look at this and go, what do you mean low disease pressure? There's 100% of the plants that you looked at had septoria brown spot symptoms. And that's true. So there's a high incidence of symptoms. But if we take a look at the severity rating, it's quite low, right? So we're not seeing very high pressure overall when we account for the incidence and the severity combined. And then for diseases that we're rating just on an incidence, like presence absence basis, we're not seeing very high pressure at all. So overall, relatively low disease pressure, like I said, that was relatively consistent across our trials for soybean in 2020. So moving on, the next trial compared a single application of Acapella to untreated soybeans without a fungicide application. Again, no significant yield difference, overall low disease pressure, not getting that boost in income to offset the cost of the product per acre. The next trial compared a single application of Diax to no application. Again, no significant yield difference, relatively low disease pressure overall, still not seeing that economic gain from investment in fungicide application mid-season. So another trial using Diax for the single application treatment, again with low disease pressure, no yield response, and no increased income to offset the product cost. Again, a single application of Diax compared to unsprayed, no significant yield difference, overall low disease pressure still, cost of the product is still therefore represented as a loss in profit per acre because we're not getting that boost in yield. And finally, another trial using Diax as the single application of choice. Still low overall disease pressure, still not seeing a significant difference in yield. And again, therefore, the cost of the product is represented as a loss in profit per acre. So what's next for soybean fungicide trials? Like I mentioned earlier, we have seed quality analysis underway this year. I think at this point, having conducted soybean fungicide trials for several years now, we have a pretty good idea that soybean fungicide doesn't frequently pay in terms of providing a yield benefit. So one of the things that we can start to assess is how the economics of that just-in-case application of fungicide might play out over time. So for example, how frequently is there actually a yield response with a positive economic outcome versus, what's the accumulated cost of all those just-in-case applications you may be applying up to the year where it actually pays off. So these are some bigger picture type questions that we're looking to answer, and we will continue with soybean fungicide trials next year if there continues to be interested farmers who want to test this out in their fields. So a big thank you to all of our On-Farm Network participants. If you are interested in learning more, getting involved, or if you have a trial idea, please feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you.